Hello, everyone. It is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up and coming queen of real estate, and I'm here for another episode of Tuesday Tip at 2. Hello, everyone. It is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, queen of real estate and social media extraordinaire, and I'm here for today's and this week's Tuesday Tip at 2. I'm so excited to be talking with you today about this NAR settlement. Has the landscape of real estate changed? Is commissions and realtors in this profession obsolete? Well, we're going to talk about it, but before we get into it, I need to let you know that I'm a licensed PA realtor, and I service the Philadelphia and surrounding suburbs. That would include, but are not limited to, Philadelphia County, Montgomery County, Delaware County, Chester County, all the counties surrounding Philadelphia. So if you're interested in buying or selling in any of these areas, you know what you need to do. You need to go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, that's book.djmrealtyco.com, and we can get started on getting you into a house, selling a house, or even if you're an investor, I can help you. Now, you know what I need to do next. Hello, new subscribers, returning subscribers. If you have not subscribed, please click that notification bell so you can be notified of all things coming up, all things DJM. Now, let's get into this segment that I have with Joe McKeever, my branch manager at my brokerage, Coldwell Banker Realty, Conshohocken. I was super excited when he agreed to talk about this. He has years of experience, loads of it in the game, and you can see his bio in the description. And I know because he is rooted in education, because he serviced Coldwell Banker Realty in the education department, I knew he would be able to have the conversation with helping the sellers, helping buyers, and even helping agents to understand what the media is talking about when it comes to the National Association of Realtors, this huge settlement that just occurred on Friday. It's now Tuesday, but it occurred on Friday. And so it has had the internet on fire ever since the news broke. And there is so much clickbait and speculation, but I wanted to set the record straight and debunk some things that maybe has come out that would stir fright, that would stir fear, not only in the hearts of consumers, but agents as well. So as I always like to do, I like to bring information that is beneficial to everybody. And so I wanted you guys to take a peek into this interview that I did, and I hope that it helps to give some clarity to what's going on, how it will affect you, the consumer, whether you are one who are selling, and especially if you are a buyer, and what that means. All right. So, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on today's and this week's Tuesday Tip at 2. I have here an amazing man who I'm so excited to be with me on this week's episode. I have been telling you guys that I want to open up, expand, do some things different in 2024. And this is my first collab and guest. And is none other than Joe McKeever. Please tell the people who you are to me in relation to me, and what do you do before we get into the topic today?
Well, one, I totally appreciate this opportunity of hanging out with you. I think you do some amazing social media stuff online, and you're always trying to get good information out to people. And I think that's so valuable in an ever-changing market and world to get good information out. So kudos to you for that one. But who am I? So I am Joe McKeever. I'm the office manager here for Coldwell Banker in Conshohocken. And I have been in real estate what feels like forever. Been around for a while. And I was the director of education for a while here for Coldwell Banker. And then about 5 years ago, started to manage the Conshohocken office. So you and I met through offices, and you are with my office. You do an amazing job here for your clients, and I appreciate you being here. That's for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was super excited, of course, to have a different perspective. We know that the information landed on Friday, that the settlement from NAR, and it has been circulating and burning up the internet streets, as I say, for several days now. So of course I had to talk about it, and I wanted to bring you in because you continually already, number one, your training, your teaching ability. So I knew that you would be perfect for being able to explain it in layman's term, which is the goal of my YouTube channel, is to explain things. You'll hear all the technical things and all that stuff everywhere, but how do we break it down for everyday people to understand? So that's what my goal always is.
Yeah, and it can be a lot. It's a lot of information coming at the consumer out there right now. We've been hearing this for several years. This is a lawsuit that didn't just pop up. This started back in 2018, in fact. And it was an opportunity for, I guess, the industry to kind of take a little peek inside, too, as to how we're doing business. And as a result of it, it stemmed into this massive lawsuit, which I think had a payout or a settlement that was agreed upon at $1.8 billion, between the brokerages, various brokerages that were out there. And it wasn't just one particular brokerage. It was all of the brokerages for the National Association of Realtors, the NAR there. And basically it claimed that sellers are typically and traditionally, they pay out the commission side upon the sale of the home. So the proceeds of the property, you have a $400,000 home that's for sale. The buyer comes in, they work with their mortgage provider. They then buy the house, and at settlement, when that happens, the seller has agreed to pay out the commissions on both sides. And traditionally nowadays, it's 5-6%, right? So however that works out, the seller then pays the buyer's agent and their seller agent for closing that. As a result of that, we've seen pricing, though, of homes getting higher and higher and higher out there. So the thought is that sellers, agents, more importantly, were trying to inflate the cost of the homes in an effort to increase the commission that they were getting in their pockets. And so they were saying that these prices were going way high, and agents were more or less collecting, at $400,000 at, say, 3% commission, you're looking at $12,000 in commission. What I don't think a lot of consumers realize is the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes here to get the transaction to close. So
That's for sure.
the lawsuits are now, at a point where they're saying, no, the buyer's agent is now responsible for paying the buy side commission, and the seller is responsible for paying the listing side commission, is basically the breakout of these lawsuits.
One of the things that I thought of in going back and forth, right? When you look at the history of real estate, there once upon a time was not a buyer agent, right? And I think about that where it was just an agent and you listed homes, right? And so
1994. It goes back to 94. And at that point, before 94 in buyer's agency, we all, the buy side or the listing side, we all worked for the seller. It wasn't until 94, until we had buyer's agency in place, that it was a dividing line where the buyer had representation and the seller had representation.
Right. And so I think about that. I'm like, well, there was a reason that was done. Right. There was a reason that was done to protect, like you say, the consumer, to protect the buyer. And so the other thing that I think of is for the most part, there are so many people. I work a lot with first time home buyers, right? There are so many people who do not have liquid cash available, right? To be able to pay buyer agents. And of course, if someone's selling a home, 9 times out of 10, it has equity. They're getting that lump sum. And so it makes all the sense in the world for the model to be what the model is and was, because they're getting that lump sum. So it's like a portion of it is going to the services of the people that helped you to sell the house, right? Whether selling agent, buyer agent. What does it do for the buyer now? So no matter what price bracket that you have, even if you have, tens of thousands in the bank to be able to buy towards your home, you want to buy it, use it towards your home.
Correct. So it does pose an interesting problem perhaps for the buy side, which is the buyer already has so many expenses in the cost of purchasing a home. They got their home inspection, they've got their title company, they conveyancing, they have the mortgage. They're paying, for the services of the mortgage provider as well. And all these fees are rolled in. And now they're going to have to pay their real estate agent as well. So if a particular buyer could purchase this, now when they come to the table, they got to purchase this and this, because they're going to have to pay for that commission now on the buy side. So it's going to be more negotiated. Like, my fear is going to be this for the buy side. I want representation, but now can I afford it? I want a quality agent to work with me, but now can I afford it when I have to still get a mortgage together? Not to mention the fact that, let's say a mortgage provider is now going to have to consider taking that. If we're talking of $400,000, that at 3%, 12 grand, are they going to roll that into their mortgage and amortize that now out over 15, 30 years?
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask for the buyers right now. So though I know the lawsuit is settled and it's going to be open now, I still am confident that with the right agents out there and the right talking points, I think sellers are going to see the value of providing commission still and being able to pay both sides, because they know how hard it is for the buyer to come up with it,
Yeah.
And honestly, you have on the buy side, it'll work for your conventional loans, but VA, FHA, especially VA cannot roll commission into the cost of the home.
Right.
if it's coming from VA. So therefore, what happens to all those poor VA clients that are out there where the seller's not going to offer a commission?
Right.
Will they be able to get representation?
Right.
So it opens up a significant new world for the buyers right now.
Right. Yeah. What is, to your point, what is the value for the seller? So if you can just say in layman's term, just understanding this lawsuit, how would you have the conversation with the seller if you were sitting in front of them?
Yeah, it's like the seller. I think, look, ultimately, it's still the seller's choice if they want to pay the commission or not. It's up to them. However, I think agents have to explain to listing or sellers out there the reason why it's so important to continuously add the commission to the buy side. And I think what I just said earlier is explaining to them all the costs that the buyers have up front to purchase the home. Now, we as agents, I often say to my seller out there, what is it that you want to get for your home? And if I can get that number and also get my commission at the same price, as long as you get the number you want out of this, why not move forward?
Right.
So as long as the seller is still able to get the price that they want and commission is paid out at the end of that, it really shouldn't be much of a problem out there. But we do want to tell sellers out there the importance of considering that commission to the buy side, because it's still really going to be an important piece of it.
When you see all the headlines
Yep.
out here from all the various sources, from CNN to Yahoo News and Business Journal and all that good stuff, what can we debunk? So some of the headlines: 6 commissions are gone. Everything is down the tubes. You'll never, I saw someone comment and say, realtors are like the elevator man. It's going to be obsolete. Like literally the elevator man that would be in the elevator.
That's scary for you and I, huh?
So how can we debunk some of this jargon that we're seeing? What's the actual truth and what is not?
It's hard to say. With the way news is out there today, it gets a little crazy. For you and I in the industry, we know the science, the pieces behind this. So it hurts me when I hear online or on the news the way they're putting it out there, this fear, versus it just makes it harder for us as agents to have to go out there and tell the real truth behind the scenes.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is an opportunity for the media again to hype something up and get in people's head, and ideally it will hopefully come back down at some point. But yeah, there's a lot of craziness out there right now with some of the way they're giving the information out there, and it's just not all of the information. It's some of it. It's just not all of the information.
And the 2 main things that I observed that came out of it was the buyer agency commission not being shown on the MLS. Does that equate to it not being able to be negotiated? So that's what I want to kind of talk through a little bit as far as debunking, because some people are saying, they're interpreting because it can't be shown in the MLS any longer, which is the multiple listing services that we use, that that's why they're saying, 6% commissions out the door, and they're misinterpreting that. Is that true, or is it just, hey, it's not being shown, but if you are negotiating that with the listing agent and all that, that's something that's different?
Yeah, it's still, look, just because it's not shown doesn't mean it doesn't exist still out there, And so, yes, I think ultimately, if you negotiate with the seller that the seller is going to pay the commission, I think it's going to open up the pool of buyers that much more,
Right.
which for the seller equates to potential multiple offer situation. And you may have a price here, but ultimately being open to all these buyers now is ultimately going to run that price up a little higher.
Right.
You and I I've seen deals over this past year that were 100,000 over asking.
Yeah.
Okay. And the seller's paying commission on that.
Yeah.
Why would we want that to go away?
Right.
And because we were open to all of the buyers out there. Now if a buyer has to pay their agent commission, and we're talking the VA issue and other issues that are out there, now you take that pool of buyers down to this for the seller. And I think it limits the seller's capability of getting multiple offers and the highest best price. And that's what our job is, to try and get the seller the highest best offer for that home out there. So hence why you need a quality agent out there. You said something earlier about, well, like, it will be obsolete. I can't see in this particular business, at least currently in our world, how we are going to become obsolete. What it's going to do is likely allow the bad agents to go away who don't understand the business, and agents like you who understand, are out there trying to get the good news out there. you're going to be that person that a seller needs to align with. You're going to be that person that a buyer needs to align with to get through the negotiation pieces of selling a home, buying a home. It's not just something you do. It's not purchasing a car.
Right.
And it needs, yes, some of it can become more automated, but at the end of the day, it's still going to need a human touch with someone who knows what they're doing, a true professional,
right,
to get across the finish line. Because if you didn't, this is where people are going to be taken advantage of.
Right.
You know?
And I think that's my biggest concern. It is, what do we do for people who could buy but are going to struggle even more? I mean, we know that it's already a struggle for many, right, to get through the process, but who may struggle even more because now you have to take this into consideration as well. I think about that, and I think, and even with sellers kind of having that mindset of, I don't want to be paying that commission and all that stuff, but also at some point you're going to be a buyer.
Correct.
You're going to
And
be
it's all right on the selling side. I don't want to pay on the selling side, but you're right. When they go and purchase their home, now they're going to want all this, right?
Right.
You can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways.
For so long, that's what we said about the commission. Yes, you might be paying 6%, 5% on the selling of your home. Okay. Right. But when you go and purchase your home, you're going to be on that side of the fence,
right,
and get it back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a wash. And that's why a lot of professionals out there think that this whole lawsuit craziness is craziness.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to fix something that isn't necessarily broke.
Right. Can we, this is kind of, I want it to be how we end. I want us to talk about how it got there. And because I know another thing coming out of the settlement is having a document signed, a buyer agency document signed, saying, hey, in an event that, there is no payment out from the seller, they're not paying commission, blah, 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 blah. It's going to, have all of that outlined in there, and it has to be signed by, a buyer.
Correct.
Can we talk about one of the things I thought of when they said that that's what would have to be done? I was like, well, I do this, right? I have the conversation. And of course, in the buyer agency contract, there's a little blurb that states it, but I always go over that with my clients. If it's in DocuSign, I have notes on there just expressing what certain parts of what they're signing is. I love video emails. So I will go through what is, sharing my screen, going through documents and expressing what things are. To your point, weeding out the bad agents. It seems to me that some of the bad apples have brought on this lawsuit, have brought on this settlement, right? Where they didn't do, I always call myself a teaching realtor. So I'm going to explain what's happening, what's going on. Can we talk about, again, that the importance of being a good communicator as a realtor and being able to express to your clients what they're doing, what they're signing, all these different things. And so that we don't have, things don't get lost in translation.
Yeah. You hit on a topic, and I think that truly is what separates the good from the bad agents. Those agents who are willing to take the time and explain in detail what the client, be it the buyer or the seller, is signing, and having them understand that is essential to building and forging that relationship. Right. And the agents that can't explain it, the agents that don't know quite what's going on, at that moment, allow emotions to enter into it. And therefore, it's all the finger pointing. It's all the finger pointing because they're not 100% sure themselves.
Right.
And they're treating this thing like a part-time job or just a side hustle. And real estate's not a side hustle. You need to be in it and become a student of the industry, much like you are. You're always learning, you're always educating, so that we can explain it properly to our clients. Right. As far as the buyer's agency is concerned, as I said earlier, it goes back to 94. It's just that a lot of agents don't necessarily have that document signed because it's like, I don't want to put that in front of my client. But I look at it this way. Can you take a listing without a listing contract?
Right.
No. Why would I have a buyer without having a buyer's contract? It's just the other side of the business. So having and showing that contract up front, and just like you said, here's what I work for. I work for 2%, 2.5%, 3%, okay, of the total sale of this house. Having that conversation up front and treating your business like a business and letting your client know what you're in it for is essential. It's essential what's involved with that and being able to explain it. And you're not saying necessarily that the buyer is going to pay that commission. You're saying in the event that a seller is not paying that commission, you need to understand this is what I work for. Right. And I think that's having to be able to explain that out to your clients is essential in this business. And I don't think a lot of agents do a good job at it.
To your point, we have to be studied in our profession. It's no different than any other profession. And I think that so many people, I know I would talk with people who were interested in getting into real estate, and they're like, oh, somebody told me to talk to you. And I would talk to them. And I would say most of the people did not get into real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? You got to be ready for the journey. Yes. This isn't it's astounding that some people think that you and I, like, we made our money in life, so we're just dealing with real estate right now.
Right.
No, this is I drive a beat up Jeep Wrangler, because it's like the reality is that, like, we don't live, high on life.
Yeah.
This takes a lot of time and work
Yeah.
and dedication, and you're going to hear more no in this business, more rejection in this business, and you're going to hear yes.
Oh yeah.
And having that mindset and that fortitude to stay within this, in a crazy business where we're working on commission, is rough. There is no paycheck, and I think
Right.
that's what a lot of consumers don't quite get. Well, you work for a Coldwell Banker. No.
Right.
Coldwell Banker works for you.
Right.
Works for the agent. You know what I'm saying? And that's a fundamental. It's your business. So the more you treat it like a business and align with a brokerage that can help you plug into things,
Yeah.
I think is going to be essential. I do find, though, I think some of these smaller brokerages that are out there, these virtual brokerages that you might see that are out there, I think they run the risk of potentially going away.
Yeah.
And it might get back to a pendulum of where that pendulum swings back, where the big name brokerages are what survive. And therefore those agents are with someone, a brokerage that's going to allow them to study, be educated, understand what's going on, be able to explain this to your client.
Yeah.
And those brokerages aren't going to allow just everybody in. You're
Right.
going to have to be a professional in the business.
Yeah.
That's going to be an important thing. And consumers are going to be looking for that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe. Thanks so much for
You're
being
welcome.
on.
This was fun.
Being my first guest, I'm super excited.
Good. Yes. Best of luck with this. You always do such a tremendous job with this stuff.
Thank you.
I appreciate, the industry appreciates agents like you out there that are looking to spread good information when the information right now just seems like it's coming from all over the place. So Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Well, that is all. I hope that information was beneficial, was informative, and really helped you to get some insights into what's going on with the landscape of real estate. If that helped you, please let me know. Comment. Send me an email. Let me know that it helped you. If you had any further questions or some things that you want me to take a deeper dive into, I would love for that too. And listen, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, you know what you need to do. You need to go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, book.djmrealtyco.com. And I would love to get you started. Remember, there's no place like home, no place like home buying, no place like home selling. And I will talk to you again on an all new Tuesday tip.